New day, new set of projects. First to replace the missing clip, and second to fit a somewhat battered, but let's hope all the pieces are there, clutch claw. So let's go. So inside, instructions. Claw itself, the foot, the spacers, central bar, top bar that we need to set the things on, yellow box. Oops, that's open, that's not good. Three keys. Things falling out the hole in the bottom of the bag. 1, 2, 3, 4 rods to set the separation between the pedals. Hopefully 1, 2, 3, 4 nuts. And a couple of stickers. Okay, great. Right. I'm actually going to read the instructions. So, here we go. Okay, so the idea here is that the steel foot sits on the floor behind the pedals, and then the bars that are bolted into the yellow top bit go on either side of the, what would you say, pedal arm? I don't know. The rod that leads to the pedals, so not the actual rubbery bit itself, but the linking arm. And then all that locks together tightly so you can't push any of the pedals down. Now, you might have spotted a bit of a flaw in the plan here, or a potential flaw. This is a clutch claw, designed to lock together the clutch and the brake pedals. And of course, what does an automatic not have? Yes, correct, a clutch pedal. Anyway, I'm assured by the manufacturer that it still fits this van, and that in fact they have one on theirs. So let's have a closer look at the pedals. So I was hoping I would be able to get it around both pedals, but this is the brake up here. Obviously this is a DSG, so there's only 2 pedals, one massive brake and a small accelerator, but the accelerator has a very funny shape. Can you see that? So that's the pedal surface, and then comes down and horizontal and then back up again, and that's miles away from that one, from the brake over there. So I think it might only end up going around the brake, but then of course you can't start these unless your foot's on the brake. So let's have a go. So as this is a non-standard installation, yet again, of course, why is it always us? Anyway, the first job is to work out whether the long side of the arm is going to go on the right or the left, and therefore whether the key barrel goes at the top or the bottom. For this van, and the angle of these pedals, having the key on the top is easiest. And then I need to work out what the tightest lock fit is to maximise its chance of surviving any sort of attack. But actually, can I get it into a position where it's easy enough to use? So then, having worked all of that lot out, it's now a case of working out how to get these steel rods, which clamp in all around the pedals, how to get them installed as closely as possible to the metal of the pedal as possible. You know, the instructions were fine and it's easy to understand how to get it all put together. I'm just really taking my time here because I want to make everything, I want to optimize everything as much as possible, and then I don't have to come back later and adjust or fettle things. Anyway, I've managed to get it so that the bottom foot is wedged under the accelerator, and then the locks can go around the brake pedal itself, and then locking that all together and into place. And it looks like I can get everything really super tight, so that's great. So, you know, if somebody does want to try and cut it off, then they'll have a really tricky job anyway, because this is a crazily tight space. But also everything is super tight in with the pedal metal itself, so they'll just have a really tricky job differentiating. Hopefully it's enough to put people off. You know, if somebody's super determined enough to try and get through one of these, then they probably have the technique to do it, but hopefully it's just about enough to put casual thieves off. So welcome back. I didn't think you wanted to see me spending ages screwing the bolts in and adjusting them and getting them in exactly the right place. Anyway, it's just a matter now of doing the nuts up firmly and then screwing this whole top assembly back together. Okay, that's all good. The next step is making sure I've got the correct number of spaces between the top and the bottom bits of the foot, so that it's nice and tight but not impossible to get into position. Oh, this locking pin is so tough to adjust. Right, flathead screwdriver, lever action. That's the only way. And putting the top bit of the foot on the way around would also help. I'm getting tired now, this is ridiculous. Okay, so it's taken me about an hour or so to get to this point. You know, if you were just going to bish bash bosh it, or if you had a bigger footwell, I think this would be much easier. But because the space is quite complex down here, and I've got a non-standard set of pedals, had to think quite hard about the geometry and how I optimize fitting this thing. You know, I could have just thrown it on an easy angle, but actually to get it as tight as possible, to get it as secure as possible, I've really had to think about where I put the pins and which sort of angle I put things on. So I'm in desperate need of a cup of tea, but anyway, we've got there, and I'm pretty happy with how it's looking now. So the last little bit is just to add a couple of warning stickers onto the windows, and then I will get that well-deserved cup of tea. Feels very robust. It seems okay to get in and out, so, you know, time will tell how I get on positioning it every time I park somewhere, but fingers crossed it should be alright. And I went for a clutch claw over a steering wheel lock because I'd heard they were far superior in terms of obviously not being able to start the engine if you can't get the pedal down, but also I'm told that thieves have a habit of just cutting the steering wheel to get the steering lock off and then just replacing the steering wheel later. So hopefully this will do it. Anyway, just enough hopefully to put people off. I hope that was useful following along. Obviously I haven't shown everything in great detail, just wanted to give you an overview of what it's like to put together. So if you're thinking of getting one, then hopefully you can see that it is reasonably easy to use and to put together. Just takes a bit of thought if you're doing a non-standard thing. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Really wonderful to have you here, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.